Isak has reiterated again for the umpteenth time in the last 12 or so months to Newcastle that he does not want to play at St James's Park anymore. Liverpool, according to sources this evening, will submit another bid. Now, we're going to delve into all of this. We're going to break this down, but I also want to look at this weird messaging again from the Newcastle United media. For me, the fundamental lies, or at the very least, misleading truths. It's basically a lie, isn't it? That they have pushed, the way they have worded things, the way that they'll try and claim some kind of moral, ethical, outright victory if this deal does not go through. But for me, this has become a little bit of a joke. We're going to delve into it. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe and share. Really helps the channel. Because, listen, the media conglomerates, they're trying to bury what the fan channel community are doing. And if you like sort of independent fan media, as we are, please get a like, subscribe, shared. But turn on that bell notification button as well so you know when we post out new content. And there's a lot to look at here. But we know that the owners have sat down with Alexander Isak in the last 24 hours at his home to beg, to plead, and to ask him to reintegrate into the team and to stay. And this in itself throws a massive spanner into the works when it comes to the conversation surrounding the potential exit of the player. Now, the reason why is this, because this was only released 2 days ago. And I want to put this up on the screen. I want you to hear this because I think it's very, very important to hear this again. This is Craig Hope talking about Isak. This is just 2 days ago. Take a listen.
As we stand here now, my information is, and this was a stance which really hardened on Tuesday night, the statement and the language and the accusatory nature of it did not go down well. My information now is Alexander Isak is going nowhere.
So just 2 days ago, Craig Hope, along with all the other Newcastle media, put out very similar statements because of a briefing from Newcastle, and that is that Alexander Isak is going nowhere. The comments that he made during the presentation period of the PFA Awards had hardened Newcastle's stance. They were not going to sell him. And just like last Wednesday when the statement came out directly from the club, that's my club, love how we're behaving, from Newcastle fans, I feel like they've been misled again. And the reason that I say that is because less than 24 hours after this claim was made, and let's listen to it again so that I'm not misrepresenting anything that's being said here.
As we stand here now, my information is, and this was a stance which really hardened on Tuesday night, the statement and the language and the accusatory nature of it did not go down well. My information now is Alexander Isak is going nowhere.
Now, this clip was shared by big Newcastle aggregators on the 24th of August. But since that point, and I think this is very, very significant, if it's true that Newcastle's stance has hardened, if it's true that Newcastle, in no uncertain terms, will sell this player, then why has it been reported here by the Telegraph that Alexander Isak, it says here, Alexander Isak remains determined to leave Newcastle United for Liverpool, despite the PIF chairman and the co-owner JB Rubin meeting with him at his home? Why would the owners have to go and see the player and try and convince him to stay if they're not going to sell him? The only logic that makes sense is they were only doing it to rebuild the relationship, to reintegrate him back into training. But their stance has hardened. They've made a final decision. We were told by the media the player was just going to have to suck this up. But yet, he has told them again that he wants to leave. That's coupled with the news that's come out tonight from TalkSport, and I want to read this to you. It says, we still think, it goes, I still think, this is from Alex Crook, I still think we will see another bid from Liverpool, a British record offer between now and next Monday. I think they're going to test Newcastle's resolve, and we know Newcastle are firing darts in terms of strikers at the moment. They are keen to sign Wissa. They had a bid rejected for Larson, but sources up in the Midlands at Molineux expect a follow-up offer. They also have been offered the chance to sign Vlahovic from Juve. If they can get a couple of strikers in, or certainly at least one striker, I feel there could be a twist a late twist in the Isak tale. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that that is shocking news. At the same time, and I bring it back to the point from Craig Hope, he ain't going nowhere. We put our foot down. He's staying. But yet you're still bidding for two strikers, two different profile of strikers, because you need a Callum Wilson replacement, I agree. And you need an Isak replacement. You're continuing to bid for all these different strikers. Follow-up bids are expected. But you're doing all that while saying you're not going to sell him. You're doing all that while saying you're not selling him, while you're visiting his home, trying to convince him to reintegrate and train again. That doesn't, for me, sound like a hard no. That doesn't sound like a absolutely not. There may be an element of we want closer to 150. I think that is very, very fair. But I do think there has been a massive misrepresentation of this deal. And for me, I stand by what I've said all summer. This deal was always doable at the right price. Would it be the price that Newcastle briefed via their media publicly? No, it very rarely is. Most clubs pay a little less. Would it be as low as the first offer from Liverpool? No, even though £110 million upfront cash is not an embarrassing offer in my humble opinion. Did I think the player wouldn't push for a move? Not really. I never believed that. Have I believed one single report that Newcastle wouldn't sell him? And remember, it started off with he won't be sold for love nor money. Then he'd be sold for the right price. Then it was no, he's not being sold. Then it was if conditions are met. The story has changed so consistently, and everyone who's spoken about this deal potentially happening has been attacked, lambasted, slagged off. I've had death threats, which again don't really bother me because I don't think anything's ever going to happen. I'm touching wood while I say that, but there we go. Such is life. If it's my time, it's my time. Over Isak news, can you imagine? Can you imagine that? What does that tell my kids? Sorry, guys, your dad reported on a media article, and someone come and done him in. My God, could you imagine? They'll be okay though. We've got a good family. But look, at the end of the people say you shouldn't joke about these things. I don't think joking about things makes them happen. So that's just my personal opinion. Maybe it's because I grew up in a family of comedians and none of the stuff they jokes about happened. So anyway, we digress. From my point of view, I think Liverpool have been made out to look like some kind of criminal, some kind of horrible outfit in this. I think that Alexander Isak has been massively misrepresented. I think the way he's been, the way that he has been sort of spoken about, I think the way that people have talked about him has been absolutely reprehensible. I don't think you're doing anything wrong, by and large. Yes, strike action isn't something everybody agrees with. At the same time, we're all very happy for our football clubs to freeze out players that we don't want so they can sell them, reinvest the money into new players that we do want. And until we start having the same energy in every direction, until I see fans as angry at Newcastle or Liverpool or United freezing players out or releasing youth players that have been at the club for 10 plus years, until I see the anger equally put out each time that happens, I don't want to see it for the Isak situation, because I think it's all much of a muchness, which is the ruthless nature of elite level sport, professional sport, especially when it comes to the transfer window. But we seem to pick and choose when our ethics and our morals kick in, and I'm honestly sick to my back teeth of it. As much as I don't like how Garnacho and Sancho have treated Man United this summer, we have also forcing the likes of Onana and Rasmus out, and that's been clear to me all summer as well. And we're doing what we think for the betterment of our club and our team, and those players think they're doing what's better for them. And if clubs can be that selfish, then players can be that selfish. It's as simple and as straightforward as if you as a fan can give up a season ticket because you're falling out of love with your team, a football player can fall out of love with your team and not want to be there as well. And I'm not saying that counts for every football fan, but whether it's my club, Man United, whether it's Newcastle, all of our stadiums have been half full when our clubs have been in an absolute mess. Maybe not United in this era, but go back to the 80s. There was many a game where that place weren't full. The video evidence, the photos are there. Newcastle have been in a similar state. So if fans can pull their loyalty, players can. Oh, they're paid so much money. Poppycock. I don't care what they're paid. They are doing what they think is best for them, the same as you ask your club to always do what's best for you. And I think if it's good for the goose, it must be good for the gander. But look, the new bid is coming. There is no doubt about that in my mind. Alex Crook has confirmed tonight that he sees another bid coming between now and Monday. Newcastle resolve will be tested. I still think the biggest stumbling block, the biggest hold-up in this is nothing to do with Liverpool's good or bad bids. it's all been down to Newcastle not being able to find those replacements. My advice is bid what Wolves want, bid what Brentford want, or very close to it. Get those, because listen, I think Larsson and Wissa are really good players. Wissa is a gargantuan upgrade on Callum Wilson, will score a lot more goals. Larsson isn't as good as Alexander Isak overall, but I think he could replace at least 2/3 of the goals. Wissa will add, between the two of them, I think with Wissa and Larsson, you might score more goals combined than you did with Isak and Callum Wilson in the last year or so. So I think collectively in the aggregate, you're going to replace those goals. If they were in your squad last night, you beat Liverpool. If they were in your squad last night, you beat Aston Villa. Get those deals done and over the line. Liverpool are going to come in and take Isak. That's my worst case scenario, by the way, because I don't want Liverpool being improved. But stop lying that he's categorically not for sale, Newcastle media. And by the way, if he doesn't go, they're going to shamelessly say, we told you he weren't for sale. And you're still wrong. It's like a score prediction. Man United are going to batter Burnley 5-0, smash them. Scrape a 1-0. Told you we'd win. Well, no, you said you'd batter them. Like, you saying it's going to be a battering 5-0, you're as wrong as someone that said it would be a narrow 1-1 draw if it's a scrappy 1-0 win. In fact, the 1-1 draw prediction is nearer to the truth than your smashing them prediction. And that's the thing for me. It's been shameless. But look, I'd love to get your views. I'd love to get your opinions in the comments section below. Please hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribing. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.